Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how I defeated a counter fighter in a rematch. So we had the first match and he won by countering a lot of my attacks, as you can see. So he was able to maneuver a lot of my attacks and then counter them effectively. This actually helped him win a lot of close rounds. And as you can see here, anytime I move, he kind of anticipates all my moves and then counters them with a heavy attack. My opponent was able to repeat the same strategy in 6 competitive rounds until he won the final round with over 40% of his fighter's health using Fire Guard. He was able to win this match. And so what I did was I figured out that on the SFA game, you can request for a rematch by just going to the home screen and starting a new 3 versus 3 or 1 versus 1 gameplay. If you tap on that button as fast as you can, you will probably get matched by your previous opponent. As soon as I got matched up by my previous opponent, which is the future keeper, I took Helga as my first fighter for the game, and then I was matched against Fire Guard. So the first thing I did was to observe what my opponent was going to do at this time. Since I was being countered a lot in the previous game, I was going to take like a patient first round and see how that plays out. But I still got countered anyway. So I was like, okay, I'm still going to, regardless of what happens, I'm going to slow down the pace of the game and reduce the way I was putting my foot on the gas. So I was actually doing more of the attacks in the first game. Although I got countered in the first round so many times, Helga has this ability where when she loses a lot of health, she enters a smiting mode and then you still have a chance to win the match. I wasn't able to succeed in the first round and we were on to the next one. For the second round, I chose Yuka as my next fighter because she wounds opponents when she does a lot of attacks with her blade. This, I believe, will be the perfect match fighter for this match. The second round was actually similar to the first round as I got countered a lot. Even if I tried to slow down the pace of the game, he was able to catch me more than I would have expected because I was hoping to end this round as soon as possible and then proceed to the next round where I get to fight with his next fighter who will have more health and XP. At this point, my opponent is actually confident that he's going to win the rematch. So now I have to bring in my A game and then see how I can defeat him. In the next round, my opponent actually chose Sarge. Sarge is actually a really aggressive fighter that evades opponent's attack with his shadow ability and does a lot of damage with his hammers or mallets. I'm not sure what it's called. It's kind of similar to like Shao Kahn's weapon, but on both hands. He was able to still counter all my attacks, which was quite funny because at this point I'm like, okay, do I change back to my aggressive fast pace or do I slow down? And now he rubs it in with the emoji in there and it ends the match with a slam. That was like a really good slam. At this point, I'm left with just one fighter, which is Sarge. And I'm like, okay, I'm hopeful because Sarge deals a lot of damage. And he can evade attacks with his shadow ability and also gain more health. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and see what I can do with this round. Even though I have just one fighter against 2 of his fighters. So now it's Sarge versus Sarge. Let's see who has a better gaming IQ. First round, he throws this does the same attack as the previous game where he throws his knife. I countered that with a heavy attack, jump with a high kick, and then I'm trying to say, okay, I'm more aggressive in this round. And now, to counter a shadow ability, you don't have to move when he's in a shadow form. You just wait and move back and try to evade. Most fighters avoid Sarge when he's in shadow form because he does a spinning attack that leads to like a smash on the ground with his hammer. So what I do is I just go for a takedown instead and then do the attack. So that was what I used to end the round. In the next round, I get matched up with Helga. Helga is a really dangerous opponent because she does a lot of heavy attack with a smite sword. When she smites her sword and then when she shoots. So I had to avoid those two. So the first one I was able to avoid the attack on the gun and counter her smiting attack. I wasn't able to block that one. I got countered twice, so I'm like, okay, this time around I have to cover. So as you can see, once I enter shadow form, I get avoided. So instead of doing anything, I just go for a takedown and then do a heavy attack. So that way I can have a chance in winning this. So yeah, I'm trying to avoid being countered, even though that happens sometimes. So now I'm trying to also put in my own counters, and then I go for a takedown when he shoots a gun. That's another way to kind of catch opponents. So at this point, the game gets interesting because my opponent is seeing exactly what I'm trying to do. I get countered heavily at the end of this game, and then now I'm like, okay, I'm going to end it with my knife. I just had to rub that in. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.